It had been a long day, one where my heart had been wrestling with a lot of heavy emotions. Guilt over the recent separation from my husband of 33 years, devastation over my youngest child's 6th hospitalization in a year for suicidal ideation or attempts, and confusion over that same child's recent transition from Olive to Miles. It was one of those days where I questioned whose life was I living. It was as if our perfect family portrait had distorted into a Picasso painting. We were all still there, but we were barely recognizable. I had just one more stop, a dash into Costco. I dug deep into my exhaustion and tried to rally some strength. Most days were better. Even though change can be difficult, in the long view I felt hope and renewal in these changes. Since coming out, Miles had not been suicidal. After 2 very difficult years, it was like watching my child come back to life. It felt like a new beginning for both of us. After all, Picasso can be breathtakingly beautiful. But Miles' recent attempt had punched a Grand Canyon-sized hole in my gut, and even though he was home and doing better, I was still having a hard time seeing the beauty. I was about to the checkout line when I saw her, coming straight at me, a woman I greatly admired from our old neighborhood. She had known Olive and had shown her great love through that very suicidal year, but we had moved right before the transition to Miles. Her son was a good friend of Miles, so I knew she would be updated not only on the gender dysphoria, but on the recent hospitalization. I took a deep breath and braced myself. I have learned that one of the most important things I can do to support Miles is to tell our story without shame. And when I do, we usually receive compassion and understanding in return. It can be a powerful experience, but one that takes a lot of courage, and I was running on fumes. "How is Olive?" she asked with sincerity. I was taken back by the use of Olive, but I dug right in. "It's been a serious setback, but he's actually doing quite well. You know, he identifies as a boy now and goes by Miles." She looked at me with piercing eyes, and with some disbelief replied, "And you honor that?" "Yes," I stammered out, but it's as if all my words and resolve dissipated. I sputtered to a stop and dissolved into a puddle of shame. The rest of the conversation was a blur. I cried all the way home, and I thought of all the things I could have done. I could have told her that as a boy, Miles is finally learning to love himself. I could have cited studies. I could have built understanding. I felt so defeated. I felt like I had let Miles down, and in the midst of all that clamor, a small voice in my head said, "You know, Wendy, you don't have to be brave every day." A quietness settled on me, and I knew it was okay. So my advice to other parents is, be brave. Oh, you're going to need to be brave, but you don't have to be brave every day.